Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're basically stepping right into a time machine. Seriously, I want you to clear your mind of algorithms, notifications, and instant messaging for a few minutes. We're traveling back to an era where there were literally no front-facing cameras to capture every single waking moment, no instant uploads to validate our outfits, and absolutely, positively no delete button. We're going to take a deep dive into how teenagers expressed themselves, connected, and really claimed their identities before the digital era completely took over. It was a world written entirely on paper.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because to really understand this era, we have to fully engage our senses. Analog life was just incredibly tactile. Before our feelings got digitized into pixels and emojis, they had an actual physical weight to them. Teenage expression lived through the distinct aroma of fresh notebook paper, the heavy scent of mom's stolen perfume spritzed onto a folded note, the permanent smear of blue ink on the side of your hand, and the textured bump of those awesome, colorful, puffy stickers. You could literally touch and smell someone's mood.
So this brings us to the core question of our explainer today. What did teenage life actually look like before the delete button even existed? I mean, without the safety net of being able to unsend a message, backspace a typo, or slap a filter on a photo, how on earth did young people navigate their feelings? Well, as you'll see, the absence of these digital safety nets actually created a fascinating culture of raw, unfiltered honesty. We're going to explore this by walking through what I like to call the concentric circles of intimacy, starting with the most deeply private space of all. So, Part 1, Secret Spaces and Honesty. Our first stop in these circles of intimacy is the realm of secret spaces, where teenagers spoke to absolutely no one but themselves. Long before the concept of a notes app or a private story ever existed, the 90s diary wasn't just a notebook. Oh no, it was a vault. These things often came with actual physical tiny padlocks. They were stashed safely under pillows or hidden way deep in the back of desk drawers. And because there was no backspace button, the handwriting was often frantic, messy, and crossed out all over the place. But you know what? That messiness was exactly the point. It meant that every single scribble, no matter how untidy, was a piece of pure, unbroken honesty. First loves, crushing disappointments, and wild dreams were completely, 100% safe from the public eye. So a diary in this era was really a physical safe space containing one's half-life. Think about why this matters. The diary was the ultimate honest canvas because there was zero audience to perform for. None. Today, even when we type in a private digital document, there's always this subconscious awareness that it could be screenshotted, hacked, or accidentally shared, right? But the physical diary required zero performance. Feelings didn't need to be curated or hidden behind a screen. They were just poured right out onto the page, exactly as they were. Moving on to Section 2, Hidden Messages, and specifically, love letters. Now, what's really interesting about this next circle of intimacy is that we move from speaking to oneself to speaking to just one other person. And the sheer tactile effort that went into a manual letter back then was immense. You couldn't just casually fire off a, "Hey," text. No way. You had to select the special lined paper. Maybe it already smelled like flowers. You might even sneak a spray of mom's perfume onto it for that extra touch. Then, you carefully fold it into these intricate origami-like shapes so it wouldn't pop open easily. And then came the terrifying delivery part, slipping it silently under a desk or passing it through a trusted friend. The medium itself was the message. All that effort literally proved that you cared. And this effort extended way beyond school walls through the lost art of the pen pal. Just look at this timeline. On day 1, you write a really thoughtful letter. Week 1, you finally get it to the post office with cute, carefully chosen stamps. Week 3, you are literally waiting by the window for the postman. And then week 4, you finally hold the reply in your hands. This weeks-long delay is completely unimaginable today, right? But it fostered an incredible sense of patience. Waiting weeks for a reply actually made the connection warmer and way more meaningful, because you knew someone far away actually sat down, gave you their undivided attention, and committed their thoughts to paper just for you. Let's head into Section 3, Love Language Through Cassettes. Moving further along our journey, we arrive at the absolute ultimate curated connection of the 90s and early 2000s, the mixtape. If you've never made a cassette mixtape, the sheer painstaking effort is kinda hard to imagine compared to the absolute ease of just sharing a Spotify link today. Check out these steps. Step 1, you literally had to sit and wait for hours by the radio, just hoping the DJ would play the exact song you needed. Step 2, you had to hit the record and play buttons at the exact same split second to catch the intro without getting the DJ's voice talking over it. And Step 3, carefully writing out the track list on the plastic case with a marker. It was a total labor of love that took hours, sometimes even days, to get perfect. And honestly, all of that agonizing effort was really just to say this: I remember you every time this song plays. Just let the emotional weight of that land for a second. When you handed someone a cassette tape back then, every single side, every specific track order carried massive unspoken intention. You were essentially saying, listen to this, and you will know exactly how I feel about you.
So the crucial point here is that there were no algorithms auto-generating these playlists based on your listening habits. A machine didn't curate this connection, a human heart did. It was pure intention, absolute sincerity, and just an incredible amount of patience translated directly into magnetic tape.
Which brings us to Section 4, Analog-Era Social Networks.
Now we step into the public sphere. Teenagers have always needed to claim their identities in front of their peers, right? But before Facebook feeds or TikTok For You pages, there was the modding, or the wall magazine. This was literally the analog era's first social media. It was a physical board in the school hallway where students would paste poems, opinions, and hand-drawn caricatures. If your poem or artwork made it onto the wall magazine, you are basically a star for a day. People would physically crowd around the board between classes just to read it. It functioned exactly like going viral does today, just highly localized to a single school hallway. It was a tangible way to claim your existence and say, hey, I am here and I have a voice.
And this brilliantly illustrates how that public expression continued at home with the bedroom gallery. Long before teenagers curated an Instagram grid, they curated their bedroom walls. Walls were completely covered in posters carefully ripped right out of teen magazines and stuck up with clear tape. You'd see a giant mosaic of idols, from the Backstreet Boys and local rock legends like Day 119 to sports icons like Michael Jordan and giant posters of Nike Air Jordans. The more posters you had, the louder your voice was. Your bedroom wall projected exactly who you admired, what your aesthetic was, and who you desperately wanted to be.
Then there was the portable version of this identity, binders and memory books. If you carried one of these around, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They were just bursting with photos of idols, super detailed bio data sheets filled out by all your friends, carefully folded notes passed during math class, and of course, an obsessive amount of colorful stickers. The binder was the colorful, physical mirror of a 90s teenager's personality. It was cheerful, it was completely innocent, and it was 100% authentic.
And as graduation approached, these binders naturally evolved into memory books, capturing the bittersweet end of an era. The most common phrase scribbled across these pages was simply, "Don't forget me." Man, it brings a wave of nostalgia just looking at it. Years later, the faces in those small glued-in photos might fade from our daily memories, but the aroma of the paper, the colorful ink, and the raw sincerity of those simple words, they stay with us forever.
Let's move to Section 5 and see how this builds, the meaning behind the slowness. We've looked at the diaries, the tapes, the letters, and the bedroom walls. But what does it all mean when we actually compare it to how we live today? When we look at the past versus the present, side by side, the shift is pretty staggering. We've essentially traded the tactile, slow, deliberate actions of handwriting and patience for instant status updates, fleeting stories, and super fast communication. Today, expression has entirely moved from paper directly to glowing screens.
Now, while the convenience today is absolutely incredible, there is a trade-off. Everything is instant now, but the silence and slowness of the past held a sincerity that simply cannot be downloaded. The sheer manual effort required in the 90s, the writing, the folding, the waiting, the recording, it gave those simple actions an immense, irreplaceable emotional value. You just couldn't fake the effort it took to send a handwritten letter across the country. Which leaves us with a critical thought to ponder as we wrap up. Has the instant speed of today's technology cost us the warmth of sincere expression? As we effortlessly tap, swipe, and post our way through our modern lives, it's really worth asking ourselves if we've lost a little bit of that heavy, ink-stained, perfume-scented humanity along the way. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today as we traveled back in time. Keep wondering, keep learning, and hey, maybe try writing a letter by hand today.